All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Bowker, very excited to be talking to an individual ahead of quite the intriguing fight going down at BKFC 73 on April the 26th, a co-main event clash for the BKFC European welterweight championship, and some history entrenched in this fight that we'll get into during the chat as Rico Franco steps in there against Jimmy Sweeney and great having Jimmy on Bare Knuckle Bowker. How's everything going, man? You having a solid day?
Yeah, it's to be fair, I'm tired today. I was sparring this morning. Yeah, I'm just tired, but having a good day. And again, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's great to see you, back in the game and stuff like that, just in the sense of returning after a bit over a year away and making a very highly anticipated BKFC debut. Can you talk about how it feels to return and the circumstances of the return? Because it seems like a big time for you.
Yeah, I'll go into circumstances of it, but I'm not going to go in Devon too much on it because I'm not really arsed, to be fair. Um, yeah, I'm out of the game 14 months. 14 months. Obviously, the plan wasn't to be out this long. Um, Plan wasn't built this long at all. But unfortunately, due to circumstances with contract situations from my previous employer, uh, yeah, they kind of so what's really getting into it without getting fucking right into it. They've sold the company that I used to fight for, and I had a contract with the old company. They've sold to another uh, bare knuckle promotion, the US that everyone knows. So the instead of my contract being void due to new ownership or new company trying to say I was still in contract till April the 10th. So it's pushed. It's pushed my ring return back until April the 26th. Unfortunately, that's happened, but I've 6 weeks left. It's like six weeks of prison to go, and I'm free. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. I got a lot of expectation on me coming over to BKFC, the biggest bare knuckle platform in the world, and rightly so. I'm a massive name in the UK Ireland scene in Europe. So a lot of expectation coming over, and a lot of people waiting to see how I perform in the big league. But I am Mr. Big League, so it should be all right.
Yeah, it just must be so exciting for you and everything like that. It's just great to, see you back at it and whatnot. And you seem to be very excited to showcase your skills on this stage. Like you have such a massive resume, just so many titles across multiple weight categories. But it seems like this is just like a great time and a great space for you to be occupying. I guess I say all of that because I saw you had a post kind of around your prior fight and you were talking about maybe like, oh, maybe I'll have like a couple more fights, retire at 40. Like, how much has signing with BKFC kind of amended that timeline
Yeah.
and kind of changed that path?
Um. Yeah. Obviously, when you do something in life for so long, like 10 years of, I was 10 years in that company, fought everyone, six-time world champion, four different weight divisions, going to the same uh venue, fight in, fight out, seeing the same faces, fighting basically the same people. It, the excitement goes. You know what I mean? The excitement kind of. It was just like a job for me. So I was just turning up, fighting, getting paid, but there was no really excitement. It was just like a normal thing to do when you're there for that long. So the thought of retirement was probably after every fight thinking there's not more for me to do in this sport. You know what I mean? Over this side of the UK, like so I was just thinking like there's nothing for me to do. I've done everything. What else can I do? I'm not being challenged really. So I'm 40. Let's think about retiring here. So obviously one day I woke up and the company that I used to fight for was sold. Then I got the news that was sold. So then I've got in contact with David Feldman, spoke to him, and the excitement's come back. Like I'm excited for this challenge. Like I'm starting off. Um, obviously still massive name coming over, but I'm starting off. I've no belts. I'm not a champion yet. So this is a challenge for me. So I'm starting off April 26th, live on the Zone, Italy, European title fight, and progressing then to maybe another fight, then a world title fight. So the excitement has come back like massively for me, and it shows in my training and how my mindset, and I've added a lot of different stuff to my camp that I didn't have before. So I'm buzzing about it, and coming coming back from, like, I knew BKFC was going big, and it's all over, but being in Marbella, first of all, for me was a real eye opener. A fantastic show, fantastic fights, put on very well by BKFC. Then going to BKFC Italy for the press launch of this show, and just to experience that, which as a fighter and bare knuckle fighter, I've never experienced that in the UK. So that's given me an extra buzz, you know what I mean? So it's proper professional how it's run. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting this part of my journey. Obviously, it more likely be the last part. I'll finish my career now with BKFC. Hopefully another. The ways I'm looking, I've always said I retire when I'm 40, but I've got such a buzz, I'll go till I'm about 45.
Yeah, and you referenced that BKFC Italy press conference, and it looked like you got to meet Conor McGregor there. It looked like he was interacting with you and Rico Franco, and obviously he's an individual who proudly represents Ireland through combat sports as well. What was it like kind of interacting with McGregor and that whole dynamic with BKFC's partial owner there?
Yeah, it was great, and um like, obviously when you see Conor on TV, and he's kind of like has that ego, he's a nice lad, but you don't get to speak to him, so you only go and watch your scene on TV and stuff like that. But I was sat down with Franco actually at the table, and I had my little baby with me, and he's come in, obviously, and he's been mobbed by everyone, the fans and all that, which is usual. But then obviously I'm with my baby, and he's come over, and he said, "How are you, Jimmy, brother? It's good to see you." I mean, he's put that time in to come over to me and say hellos, which I thought was very very nice of him. Like, I didn't have to get up with the baby and try. Oh, Connor, come. I mean, he's took his time out when he's walked in and come to me because I had the baby, and just, "How are you, Jimmy? You all right, brother? It's good to see you." And we spoke a few times, and a very, very nice guy, very well spoken, lots of energy, and a really nice guy.
Yeah, well, I love to hear that was such a great experience for you. And you mentioned the quality of the work you've been getting in, like you were talking about getting in a good tiring session earlier, which is always great when you have such a big title
Yeah,
fight coming
yeah.
up. But yeah, I
Oh,
mean, not so much like super recently per se, but I saw you were working with some guys like Danny Christie and Lyndon Arthur, and more recently, I guess, getting some top sparring in Bolton from what I was seeing. So can you kind of
yeah,
talk about some of the recent work?
yeah. That was my last camp. Was like, I was, to be fair, I had Danny. Well, I didn't have him out, to be fair. I give him a few rounds sparring before his fight with Dave Mundell. My last camp I've done before that. My last camp I've sparred with Lyndon Arthur, very very good fighter, like top fighter. Like, he's for world champion, IBO world champion, fought Bivol, stuff like that. He very very good fighter. I've used him before, and this time now I've started back, and it's only I've got 6 weeks, so uh I've started back using the amateur lads just for the because when you're sparring the pros, it's 3 rounds or 3 minute rounds, and their style is a lot. It's a lot sit back style, and you know what I mean. Whereas the amateur lads is it's fast. It's 3 rounds, 4 rounds, but it's fast paced. So I've been using the amateur lads recently, but I'm going to up it again now. We've got Nav Mansouri coming in, a former English champion. He's fighting on the same card as me. Very good lad. So I had a couple of rounds with him this morning. Yeah, and this camp I've added a nutritionist because obviously I have to get down to like 75 kilos, which is horrible. But I've added a nutritionist, I've added another strength coach, um, a running coach. So I've added a lot of stuff in this camp, which which shows my intention going forward in BKFC.
Yeah, and you did mention it earlier, like the goals of, becoming European champion and then pursuing a world title accolade thereafter. I thought it was interesting because I saw a social media post talking about the magnitude of this Rico Franco trilogy, which obviously a very exciting fight. But within the comment section, I saw the current world welterweight champion, Austin Trout, posted quite a few fire emojis. He seems excited as well, understandably. Like, what are your thoughts on Trout's upcoming fight against Carlos Trinidad Snake at BKFC's Dubai card?
Yeah, I think obviously Trout is watching. He's the champ, champion of the division, well deserved champ, a very good fighter. You just have to look at his resume in pro game and what he's done so far in his bare knuckle career, which is obviously outstanding fighter. Nothing but praise from him. He's a good lad. So obviously he's going to look in because I carry a name. You know what I mean? A lot of people are excited I'm coming over. So everyone in my division are going to be keeping an eye out on me and on this fight and how I do in this because anyone that I look at as like my next two opponents and obviously all going well, but I'm looking at them as a way to the world title. You know what I mean? So he's looking at that fight to see how I do against Franco compared to what he's done. So my job is to go in and make an absolute statement in this fight, um, and stop Franco within the 5 rounds, knock him out. That's my job. Obviously, I'm not. I'm going to box it and do what I have to do, but I'm going to use this fight as to send a message, not to just Trout, but to everyone in the welterweight division. Going on Trout's next fight. Trout is a world class boxer. He's world class boxing skills. I've seen a bit of this Trinidad guy. Um, very tough lad. He's got a good few wins. So I think he's undefeated. But looking at it, I just think Trout's boxing. If Trout can keep him off, keep him at distance, I think Trout will be. It'll be an easy night for Trout if he can't do that. But then again, it's keeping someone like Trinidad at the distance and not letting them get in.
And I mean, so much to talk about with this fight for sure, and I'll definitely touch on it in deeper detail a bit later on. But just I mentioned earlier your accolades as a multi-weight champion in your prior company that you were with, and all of that. Also within the comment section of that post I referenced, I saw the lightweight champion Franco Tenaglia was quite excited about this fight. Like, do you have, I guess, aspirations to be a multi-weight champion also in BKFC
Yeah.
ideally, or maybe a more long path at welterweight?
Yeah. Yeah. I think with me and what I've done, like I like to challenge myself. I like to challenge myself. So obviously, I'll be definitely a two division. two division world champion. In my head, I'm going to be a two division world champion. Probably, probably the 165 and 175. I'm not going to get down to 155. There's not a hope. Like, I'm 40 years of age. Um, I'm not doing that to my body. Like, I like my food too much. I'm not going to go down there. It's too much of a weight cut for me. I'm not going to do that. So in the future, everything going okay with my next fight and so on. I'll be looking to move up to 175 and challenge whoever the world champion is going to be at that stage. But again, that's that's something to look at in the future. I'm very confident of getting it done, but that's on the back burner for now, and full focus on the European title fight, because that's the fight that starts my journey off. You know what I mean? That's also the fight that could end my journey. You know what I mean? With a fighter like me, I have to win every one of my fights. Like, I'm too big of a name to come and lose and think I'm going to get another shot. It's not going to happen. So every fight to me is a world title fight.
And I mean, this is just such an exciting fight. I think fans who really avidly follow the entirety of the bare knuckle boxing scene know just what this fight represents and how much it means. Like I mentioned earlier, a rubber match, championship hardware on the line. It just, I mean, just such an incredible fight. And for it to be happening at this time, I think it's intriguing
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
guys had your first two fights. Yeah.
yeah. Of course, of course. It's we've done it before in the UK. We've done it twice, but this fight is just one of those fights. It just basically just fell into our last because I was supposed to fight a guy called Gogo Slavecki,
Yeah.
something
Former
like that.
welterweight
So that
champion.
so that was the fight that was arranged for me for the European title, and for whatever reason, I've when I've got when I've got the call, because there was another guy mentioned. Um, I don't remember his name, to be fair, but he wouldn't have been as good as that Go lad. And I was like, no, no, he's not in Jimmy's league. What about Go? So when I've got the call, what about this guy? The first thing I said was, yeah, of course. Like, I'll fight anyone. So then I looked into him, and he was like 6-0, former world champion. I thought, this is a good fight, you know. This is what I need. This is the fight is it's going to get me up in bed. It's going to get me out training. This is a good fight. So obviously I've agreed to everything, and for whatever reason, on his behalf, it just didn't materialize for whatever reason. I don't know, so I'm not gonna get into. I'm not gonna like just throw accusations or whatever out there. So I don't know, but for whatever reason, on his side, it didn't work out. Um, while in the meantime, Franco was having a fight with this Italian pro lad, and he couldn't fight because if he did, the Italian boxing board would have took his license. So then it was like, what about you versus Franco, European title, Italy, the trilogy? It makes sense. There's history in it. We can make that main co-main event. I went, and me and Franco are friends. Take a mind, we are mates, and we have spoke about this and the potential of a fight together. And we did say, unless there was a title on the line, there was no point us fighting each other again, because we fought each other for world titles. So there's no point us fighting just a normal fight. Just it wouldn't have made sense. But this one, European title, first show in Italy, the history of it, it just made sense. And when that fight got announced, it blew up. So that just shows the interest in that fight.
Well, it's just such a significant contest for sure. And like I said, people who avidly follow the sport understand just the significance of this
Yeah.
fight. But I guess in kind of bringing that up, because there are a lot of bare knuckle fans, and I don't cast aspersions when I say this, but there are some bare knuckle fans that pretty much just exclusively follow BKFC. And you have such a massive legacy. So to that point, I'm wondering how much you've noticed like an influx of, I guess, new fans or new interest in what you're doing
Yeah.
since, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, of course. So it's kind of strange for me because I'm massive over this side. Like anyone that knows bare knuckle or does a bit of journalism or anything like that knows who I am, knows what I've done. But to the average fan, that's not. There's fans and then there's die-hard bare knuckle fans throughout the world. But then you have the UK fans, the American fans that just like watch the home country fights and stuff like that. So I'm going to be an unknown to a lot of these people. So it's kind of strange for me because like I see like, oh, Franco's going to win and Franco's going this and Franco's going that, because Franco's known to the American fans for what he's done. So I'm coming over as to them as a bit of a unknown. But once I perform to where I'm going to perform and do what I'm going to do, they're going to be like, wow, what is this? What's come over to BKFC?
That must add to the point you were talking about earlier of the excitement factor, right? Just because I feel like I said again, the people
100%.
that know what the score is, like they know what your fighting style is and how pedigreed you are and whatnot. But yeah, it could create that big like wow response from people who are just kind of taking you in for the first time.
Yeah, of course, of course. It's like when I started first. I remember I had two fights one night, and no one knew who I was. But believe me, after that, they knew. So this is history repeating itself, and they're going to know after this fight, and they're going to it's going to obviously every the diehard, not the main fans going around, the diehard fans that knows bare knuckle know who I am, but to the fans of just the BKFC, they're gonna see something special come April the 26th.
And I'm curious to ask because you have such a wealth of experience in bare knuckle, but this is a slightly different rule set, just in the sense of the active clinch component. Like, how much of the active clinch work have you done kind of leading into this
I,
BKFC debut?
I
Or,
haven't
yeah.
I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything. My style is I'm a counter puncher. So if you're close enough to grab me, you're close enough for me to hit you. And once you're close enough, I'm gonna put you to sleep. So I have don't get me wrong, I will do a little bit of it, but I just feel like my best ability is my boxing. I don't want to be clinching. I don't want to be in that close where I have to clinch. It's not my style. I feel like I can keep my opponents off me with my boxing, catch them as they come in. So don't get me wrong, it could backfire on me, and I could get caught in a clinch. Not saying I will or won't, but the ring is big enough for me to utilize my footwork and my counter punching that I'm not over emphasizing the whole clinch or clinch work. I'm just working on what's always been working for me.
Yeah, well said. I mean, you're such a sophisticated counter striker, and that is a fair point. Like, I feel like the dimensions of the BKFC space would especially, I guess, like reflect well on your style and kind of lend itself in a way to your approach you've already shown.
Yeah, of course. If you look at the ring that we used to fight here in the UK, it was a tiny square ring. It was tiny. So, and I could still find the angles, find the distance in that ring. So going into like obviously with BKFC, they have the two different sizes. The smaller one, their smaller ring is bigger than what the ring I've been fighting in for the last 10 years. You know what I mean? It's a round ring. So imagine put me in that one or even the bigger ring. you're not gonna catch me. Like I'm not gonna run away, but I'm gonna box. I'm gonna outbox anyone.
Yeah, it's just such an exciting time for, you and your career and stuff like that. And just to get to showcase your, pedigree and everything like that, because it seems like there's so many exciting fights available for you potentially in the company. Like I kind of liked seeing a Twitter interaction that happened, I guess, a bit ago at this point where Mike Perry was kind of tweeting a little bit and you were talking about how there's only like the one king in bare knuckle and the real fans know how that is. I mean, that'd be a great fight seeing the Celtic Warrior take on the King of Violence. I feel like fans would be quite excited for that.
The Celtic Warrior name is gone. It's just the king now, lad. Yeah, I don't think personally, I don't think that fight will ever materialize just because he's how can I say it? He's like a celebrity fighter. You know what I mean? So he's fighting like Alvarez and stuff like that. Where I'm a true bare knuckle fighter. I don't think they're going to put Mike Perry in with the likes of me because they know it's a fight that he's not going to win. And like he's an entertaining fighter, but there's levels to this game, and he's not on that level. I don't think. But again, very entertaining fighter, very good fighter. But I just think it's just different.
Yeah, like your focus seems to be more on the European title, the world title, and then presumably
Yeah,
the other top
yeah,
five ranked welterweights after.
yeah. My focus is on the bare knuckle lads, as in Trout, Franco, whoever. Look, I'm not going to be shy. Like I've already said it. My target is Franco, the first or second in line, and then a world title fight in my three fights. That's my mindset. That's what I'm um put my mind to. I'm envisioning this, so it's gonna happen. And Mike Perry or anyone else out of that they just don't come into it. Um, when I'm world champion, we can look at these opponents or we can go down this road. But until then, it's not even worth talking about.
Yeah, I know this is kind of like a repeated refrain throughout the chat, but just such a cool time in your career, and especially, I guess, looking back on the context of just your overall life story, just all the things you were able to overcome with, serious depression and the alcohol issues and prison and just where you're at now. I mean, just such an incredible, inspirational story that now presumably even more people will get to kind of learn about.
Yeah, of course. I've come from a lot of dark places, like through growing up. My dad committing suicide when I was 19, living with him, going to prison, uh, depression, suicidal thoughts, alcoholism. I've gone through a lot to be fair, but I've battled through. I've battled through it. Um, and now it's life for me is tell my story. Is if I can help people with my story, but just be a better version of me and put everything into my career and try to get as much out of it as possible from someone that's come from dark places and suicide to someone that's going to make a life for their kids through my fighting. You know what I mean? That's my goal now.
Yeah, and I saw a post you had a few months ago talking about, bringing your baby home to Ireland for the first time to meet her nanny. Like, that's just so cool, man. Glad that you got to experience that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've had another baby since then, so I've got like my little girl is 14 months and my little boy is 3 months. So they're gonna go home to Ireland on for the fight. So obviously my partner's gonna come over with me. So we're gonna bring the two babies back to Ireland to my mum. My mum's gonna look after them, which is great. So just so my mum just so she has that time with her kid, because obviously it's hard because she doesn't see them. my mum is one of those. She loves her grandkids. I mean, probably doesn't like her kids because they're CUNTS, but her grandkids she loves. You know what I mean? She and just for me to be able to bring them back to her for the weekend, it's going to be great.
Yeah, so incredible, man. I mean, that's what's most important at the end of the day. And just seems like you're in a great place in all facets. But I want to be mindful of your time and schedule, man. I know you have some commitments later
And,
on in the day
and
and everything,
yeah,
but
I gotta go to be. I've got, I've got to go training, and to be fair, I've had that many people come for interviews, and I'm, I'm very much look. It only takes half an hour, 40 minutes out of my time, and me, you're helping me, I'm helping you. So I like to do what I can for everyone, but I've had to cancel a couple of them the last couple of, not cancel them, but kind of move them because over my training because I've that many penciled in, and then like I've that many sessions, I forget what's what. Like yesterday, I had three sessions, and I've had to cancel one of them because I was that tired. You know, I just slept. So this is why when you've messaged me, I've literally I didn't forget that we were booked in, but I forgot the time. So it was
oh, hey,
supposed to
man, it
be
happens.
so it's
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
be 6 o'clock my time, but then I've arranged training at 6 o'clock as well. And I was thinking, oh, what do I do here? But thankfully, you were able to come on earlier and get it done.
Yeah, hey man, like I definitely, I mean, I guess through an anecdotal lens, like understand how hectic fighters' schedules can be and also kind of unpredictable. So in that sense, I'm fine to reschedule if needed or be
Yeah,
adaptable. But yeah, no, appreciate you really making the
no,
time,
no,
man. Always great getting to
no.
chat.
You should have got me in the other camps that I was lazy in other camps, but this camp is like, wow, I just can't wait to fight now and just get it over and be lazy again.
Well, that could be a parting thought in and of itself, but I figured I'd give you the floor in case you had any final thought you were maybe wanting to add as we're wrapping up, Jimmy. I appreciate you coming on Bare Knuckle Bowker to talk today.
No, thank you for having me on, and just a shout out to all the bare knuckle fans throughout the world, not just Americans fans, but everyone. The support and love that they show, not just myself, but every bare knuckle fighter and the people who come to the shows, and I mean, this is what we do it for. We do it for not just ourselves as families, but the fans and putting on a show for them. So yeah, I really appreciate it, and tune in April the 26th, live on the Zone, European title fight, new European champion.
Well, it's such an incredible fight, this rubber match with Rico Franco, and I'm really stoked for this European title fight at BKFC 73. But again, to reiterate, man, thanks so much for the time. Hopefully, the training
No,
later on in the day goes well. I'll certainly be
no,
peeping the fight when it actually happens.
I
But
might,
until then, you
I
have a
might,
good day, man.
I might cancel that, lad. So I might just make a quick excuse and cancel it. God bless, brother. Anytime you need me on, I'm always here.
Yeah, super appreciate it, man. It has always been fun to talk to you ahead of previous fights, and same sentiment for today's chat. You have a good rest of your day. Thanks, man.
Same to you, brother. Speak soon. Bye bye.